In the radiant dawn of the 21st century's first World Cup, the global stage shifted eastward. The year was 2002, and football's grandest festival found its home across two nations that had never before hosted it: South Korea and Japan. Their partnership was unprecedented. Two proud countries bridging centuries of rivalry to celebrate a shared passion for the world's game. The tournament became a symbol of cooperation and innovation. 20 futuristic stadiums shimmering under Asian skies, from Yokohama's steel arcs to Seoul's gleaming bowl. It was the World Cup of technology and transformation, where retractable roofs and giant LED screens met drums, chants, and the timeless heartbeat of football. 32 teams converged, representing every inhabited continent. The tournament's field expanded from 24 in 1998, from reigning champions France to debutantes like China, Ecuador, and Senegal. The world gathered in anticipation of stories yet unwritten, and none would burn brighter than the one born from West Africa's story of pride, rhythm, and resilience. Senegal arrived on football's highest stage as outsiders, known affectionately as the Lions of Teranga. Their very nickname evoked the country's soul, Teranga, meaning hospitality, generosity, and communal spirit. The national flags, green, yellow, and red, mirrored the team's identity: earthy, vibrant, defiant. The nation itself was young, just over 4 decades removed from independence. Its domestic league was modest, its footballers largely anonymous to the world beyond Africa. Yet beneath the surface was a generation of raw, fearless talent. Players forged on Dakar's sun-baked pitches and molded by a coach who saw in them not underdogs, but artists. Bruno Metsu, a Frenchman with an adventurous spirit and a poet's heart, took charge of Senegal in 2000. Unlike many European coaches parachuted into African teams, Metsu listened to rhythms, to rituals, to the pulse of the streets. He embraced Senegal's culture as his own, blending French tactical discipline with African joy. In the coastal town of Saly, his team trained to the sounds of drums and sea wind, long runs on the sand giving way to crisp, technical sessions. Metsu selected 23 players averaging 25 years old, a blend of domestic names like Tony Silva, the Monaco reserve goalkeeper, and Pape Sarr, with European-based talents such as El Hadji, Diouf, and Salif Dao, both at French clubs Lens and Sedan. He preached collective spirit. "We have no Zidane," he told reporters, "but we have 11 brothers." Their preparation was meticulous, their camaraderie unbreakable. And fate, with its mischievous sense of drama, placed them in group alongside the very nation that had once colonized them: France, the reigning world and European champions. Completing the group were Denmark, organized and efficient, and Uruguay, fierce and unpredictable. The odds were merciless. The world expected France to stroll through. Senegal were meant to play, lose bravely, and go home. They had other plans. Seoul World Cup Stadium, a vast 62,000-seat amphitheater, glimmered in the morning sun. Flags from 2 continents rippled in a cool breeze. Kickoff was set for 8:30 a.m. local time, a rare early start for global audiences. The French players, many of whom had barely slept, still glowed with the prestige of 1998. Zinedine Zidane was injured and absent, but even without him, Les Bleus boasted Thierry Henry, David Trezeguet, Patrick Vieira, and Marcel Desailly, constellation of champions. Senegal's captain, Aliou Cisse, led his team out in emerald green. The anthem rang across the stadium, and somewhere in Dakar, entire neighborhoods fell silent, save for the hum of radios and the nervous tapping of feet. The referee's whistle blew. France dominated early, pinning Senegal deep, their passing smooth but sterile. Metsu's men, however, were disciplined. Lamine Diatta marshaled the backline. Cisse broke up play with tireless tackles, and Henry Camara and Diop buzzed forward on the counter. Then, in the 30th minute, came history. Diop broke down the left flank, skinning Frank Leboeuf for pace. His low cross ricocheted off Emmanuel Petit's leg and spilled loose. In the chaos, Papa Bouba Diop lunged, towing the ball past Fabien Barthez. It trickled into the net. Time froze, then erupted. Diop ripped off his shirt, planted it on the turf, and danced around it as his teammates joined in delirium. The Lions had struck. France pressed desperately. Henry hit the post. Trezeguet forced saves. But Tony Silva, calm and brave, refused to yield. When the final whistle sounded, Senegal had defeated the world champions 1-0. Dakar exploded. Radios blared. Drums thundered. President Abdoulaye Wade declared a national holiday. Crowds poured into the streets, students, vendors, elders, all united in the rhythm of triumph. For the first time, the world truly saw Senegal. 4 days later, in Daegu, the Lions met Denmark. The Scandinavians scored first, John Dahl Thomason converting a 16th-minute penalty, yet Senegal refused to wilt. They equalized after halftime, Salif Dao finishing a sweeping counter-attack orchestrated by Diouf. The 1-1 draw showed balance and belief. "They play like veterans," wrote The Guardian, marveling at their composure. Their final group game, on June 11th in Suwon, was chaos incarnate. Opponents Uruguay fiercely proud. Twice world champions needed a win to survive. Senegal, sitting on 4 points, sought a draw to advance. By halftime, it seemed over. Fadiga's penalty at the 20th minute, Bouba Diop's second goal of the tournament in the 30th, and Kamara's close-range strike in the 47th gave Senegal a 3-0 lead, but Uruguay roared back. Recoba converted a penalty in the 44th. Fallen's volley at 69 ignited panic. The round of 16 brought Sweden in Oita, under warm, humid skies on June 16th. Sweden, disciplined and tall, were favoured, boasting Henrik Larsson, Fredrik Ljungberg, and a young Zlatan Ibrahimovic on the bench. The match began disastrously for Senegal. Larsson's header in the 11th minute gave Sweden the lead, but this team did not understand despair. Within half an hour, they equalized. A shot from Diouf deflected, and Henry Kamara pounced. The game became a duel of wills. Sweden's defense bent. Senegal's counters cut through like lightning. Silva saved brilliantly from Ljungberg, while Kamara's curler hit the post. 90 minutes passed 1-1. Extra time loomed. Under the now famous golden goal rule, the next scorer would win instantly. At 104 minutes, Diouf sprinted down the right, outpacing 2 defenders, and rolled a perfect pass across goal. Kamara met it first time, a low, curling finish inside the far post. The net rippled. Silence for a heartbeat. Then pandemonium. Senegal 2, Sweden 1. The Lions had reached the quarterfinals. Only Cameroon, in 1990, had gone so far for Africa. In Japan, local fans adopted Senegal as their own, waving green flags and joining the dances. It was Africa's World Cup now. The quarterfinal came 6 days later, June 22nd, in Saitama. The opponent was Turkey, a team equally surprising, equally determined. In all, Guinea's side had fought their way past Japan and played with compact discipline and counter-attacking bite. Senegal entered buoyant but fatigued, their journey stretching across Japan's humid summer. Once again, they wore green, the color of faith. The match was tight, tense, and tactical. Diouf probed the flanks. Fadiga threaded passes through narrow channels, and Tony Silva commanded his box with authority. Turkey's star forward, Hakan Kr, struggled to find space against Lamine Diatta's marking. The first half ended goalless, though Diouf narrowly missed with a curling shot that brushed the outside of the post. In extra time, when legs were heavy and minds clouded with exhaustion, Turkey found their moment. In the 94th minute, Ilhan Manch received a flicked ball, spun, and chipped delicately over Silva. The ball kissed the underside of the bar and dropped in. It was the golden goal. The Lions' dream ended their heartbreak in an instant, but heartbreak can coexist with glory. Senegal had not just played in the World Cup, they had reshaped it. From debutants to quarterfinalists, they had become symbols of African excellence, tactical intelligence, and joyful expression. Bruno Metsu embraced his players on the pitch, his long hair damp with tears and sweat. "You have made history," he whispered. Across continents, admiration poured in. Senegal are a gift to football. Read one headline in La Gazzetta dello Sport. In Dakar, the streets once again filled with song. Though the team had fallen, they returned home as heroes. At Leopold Sédar Senghor Airport, thousands greeted them with flowers, flags, and the thunder of gem drums. The government declared another day of celebration. In neighborhoods from Medina to Pikini, children wore green shirts and replayed Diop's goal with makeshift balls. Beyond the emotion, the ripple effects were profound. European scouts took notice. El Hadji Diouf and Salif Tao both signed for Liverpool within months. Kalilou Fadiga joined Inter Milan. Suddenly, African players were no longer seen as novelties or flair players. They were respected as disciplined, technically complete professionals. Senegal's success inspired a continental surge in investment, new academies, modern pitches, and structured youth programs. Among these, Diamba's Academy, founded in 2003 by Metsu and former player Patrick Vieira, became a model of blending education with sport. Out of its ranks would later emerge global stars, most notably Sadio Mane, who carried the Lions' torch 2 decades later. The National League too began to flourish. Attendance doubled in the early 2000s, fueled by pride and curiosity. Youngsters dreamed not only of Europe but of wearing the green for Senegal. The government, seeing football's unifying power, increased funding for youth programs. UNESCO studies by 2005 recorded a near 40% rise in youth participation in organized sport. More than mere numbers, it reflected a spirit, rekindled the sense that Senegal, small in size, could be immense in heart. Metsu remained in charge until 2004, guiding Senegal to the Africa Cup of Nations final that same year. They lost to Cameroon on penalties, but their style and belief persisted. Metsu himself, who passed away in 2013, is remembered not as a foreign coach, but as an adopted son of Senegal. His resting place in Saly has become a site of quiet pilgrimage, marked by football boots, scarves, and handwritten notes from fans. Looking back, the 2002 World Cup was more than a tournament. It was a crossroads for global football. It showed that hosting could transcend boundaries, that Japan and South Korea's cooperation could symbolize harmony. It proved that technology and tradition could coexist, that LED screens and ancestral drums could share the same heartbeat. But above all, it demonstrated that football's beauty lies in its unpredictability. From Seoul's dawn to Saitama's twilight, Senegal embodied that truth. They had no global superstars, no billionaire leagues behind them, yet they humbled giants and won the world's affection. Their discipline was matched only by their joy. Every goal was a dance, every victory a story. Senegal's run also reframed the African narrative. Until then, only Cameroon's 1990 quarter-final appearance had suggested continental potential at this level. After 2002, expectations changed. Ghana's breakthrough in 2010, Nigeria's consistent qualifications, Morocco's semi-final in 2022 all followed a trail first blazed by the Lions of Teranga. The psychological barrier had been shattered. "They made us believe," said Ghana's Asamoah Gyan years later, reflecting on his own World Cup journey. And in Senegal itself, football became a language of unity. Ethnic and political divides softened in the shared memory of that summer. It was as if the team had distilled the nation's dream of progress, of pride, of possibility, into 90 minutes of movement and music. The 2002 campaign also served as a study in tactical evolution. Metsu's 4-4-2 was deceptively simple, but executed with intelligence. Deep banks of defense, sharp transitions, and fluid wingers who swapped sides to unbalance opponents. Analysts later noted that Senegal's pressing patterns prefigured the modern counter-pressing systems that dominate today. Their ability to morph between compact defense and rapid expansion caught teams off guard. FIFA's post-tournament technical report cited them as the exemplar of balance between improvisation and structure. The same report highlighted Diof's dribbling and Diof's physical dominance as redefining the archetype of the African midfielder, no longer raw, but refined. As for the players, their lives changed irrevocably. Diof became a household name, though his career would later be marked by controversy. Tony Silva earned respect as one of the best goalkeepers of the tournament. Kamara, forever remembered for that golden goal, continued to inspire younger forwards. Many of the squad transitioned into coaching or youth development after retirement. Captain Ali Youssis, who had wept openly after the Turkey defeat, would one day return to lead Senegal as manager, guiding them to the 2019 and 2023 Africa Cup of Nations finals and to the 2022 World Cup knockout stages. His journey closed a circle that began 2 decades earlier under the bright lights of Seoul. Today, as the world looks toward the 2026 World Cup expanded to 48, Team Senegal stands tall among Africa's elite. Ranked 20th by FIFA, they boast consistency, depth, and leadership under Sis, Main Koulibaly, and Edouard Mendy embody the legacy of those who danced around Diop's shirt in 2002, their generation. Like that one, fuses global experience with local pride. They are heirs to the same Teranga spirit, the belief that victory comes not from arrogance, but from unity. Senegal's qualification campaign for 2026, built on solid defense and quick transitions, evokes Metsu's blueprint. The dream continues, reshaped but unbroken. The story of the 2002 Senegal team is therefore not just football history, it is national mythology. It is told not in statistics, but in sensations: the scent of sea breeze over Salé, the echo of drumming in Seoul, the sight of Diop's shirt fluttering like a flag of defiance. It lives on in classrooms and cafes, in the laughter of young players chasing a ball through red dust. It reminds the world that greatness can emerge from humility, that the game belongs not only to the rich or the famous, but to those who play it with heart. From that first whistle in Seoul to the final tears in Saitama, Senegal's 2002 journey traced a perfect arc of courage. It began as a whisper and ended as a roar that still reverberates through the corridors of football history. They did not win the trophy, but they won something greater: the world's respect. In a tournament built on modern spectacle, they brought back the soul of the sport. And as long as football is played, the tale of the Lions of Teranga will endure, a story of rhythm and resistance, of joy and belief, of a small nation that dared to dream beneath the rising sun.